Hi, everybody. Let's see. Let's get started here. Move this up a little bit. Okay. So we are at 1,406 days since Richard was murdered, and we do not have his body. And we have so much breaking news. Today was a huge day. Breaking news. Seems that Leilani Hart is in the breaking news along with Trump. And of course, FitFam El Paso, the real FitFam El Paso is huge. So let's get started. Make sure, okay, everything's working. Sorry, everything's working. And okay, so I think so many people have heard the news already about President Trump being found guilty uh, in this sham. Everyone knows it's a sham. It's kind of like this, the COVID mandates and the whole thing with the viruses. I had um, the American flags behind me. They're at the church right now. We put up a memorial for Richard at the church, so they're there. I'll be bringing those back with Grace, with the candle that you gave us years ago. We put that there, and of course, we had a little display of his uniform and all of that for Memorial Day, and it was just pretty emotional. But everyone's talking about Trump right now, right? Trump, President Trump. And what does this mean for our country? What does this mean for the criminal justice system? What does this mean for Richard's case? Um, what does this mean for law and order, right? And for trust, and because trust absolutely has been breached, right? Trust has been breached. But what I think that this is a new chapter. That's what happened today is a new chapter. It's a new chapter in American history. Period. And I think that what it's telling us is we need to look. We've been hypnotized, like with these COVID mandates, and I was talking about um, the flags, and on each flag we put a little banner, and one of them is, germ theory is trash. Germ theory is trash, because once you the beauty of that whole COVID mandate thing, the whole scam, is when you look into it, and of course our family being a medical family, looking into it and looking into it honestly, looking into it with faith. And what do I mean with faith? Many people, their jobs depend on the system, right? Their monies depend on the system. And, none of us are immune from that. And when you look at something with faith, you are risking your position or the system itself, which is you're risking your paycheck, your retirement, your what, Social Security, whatever. You're risking it when you look at the system honestly and you see that, oh my gosh, viruses don't even exist. And I got a lot of hit back from that, but it was not me saying that. It was during that whole COVID. When you look into it, there's amazing people that were asking for a sample, just a sample of anything. Give me some rabies, little sample in a vial of chicken pox or whatever, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, and it could not be provided. How is that? How is that? And so I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm just saying, look, you can't give it to me. I'm not should I be an existentialist? You know, should I be an existentialist in this case? You gotta show me the money, show me, what you're closing down the world for, what you're ruining people's lives over, what you're destroying our military over, what you're closing down small business over, what you're closing down the schools over. You can't even show it to me. You can't even show it, on and all you can do is show me like some kind of um digital picture that you manipulated, that you created. Like, I love to paint. I love to do art, right? I understand that you can just create things, and I like digital art, right? Where you could do it on the computer. It's kind of like this Project Bluebeam, where they can take all these fans, these drone fans, and they can put them up in the sky, and they can create this holographic images, right? That looks so real. But, when you turn off the fans, it goes away. Um, Today you have to be so careful. I guess you have to be a doubting Thomas, right? A doubting Thomas. That name Thomas is coming up quite a bit, quite a bit. I don't know, like Ambers and Thomases and I don't know, um, Eric's, those names come up quite a bit lately. But so, so yes, this proof of things is super important right now because there's so many ways to manipulate our thoughts, fool us, con us, hypnotize us. They're doing all kinds of things. And I think that Trump's situation, it's very, very clear that this was a manipulation. And it's a new chapter because it was so clear. It was so obvious, right? So we have two huge obvious things in a row. Like other things in the past weren't as obvious. And people were like, I don't know. We have to debate this. I don't know. But the COVID stuff, a lot of people get it. With Trump, a lot more get it, a lot more. And they're starting to realize that the media is not what it says it is, that our criminal justice system is not what they say they are, that the politics is not what they say it is, and they have lost their credibility. They've lost their credibility. And this is huge. It's really huge. Do I think that Trump will get through this? I think he will. I think he has enough support. He'll get through it. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It's in God's hands. But what I do see is that this is a new chapter, and people absolutely view the criminal justice system in a different way, politics in a different way, medicine in a different way, um, the media in a different way, and they're going to highly scrutinize everything. And this is detrimental to the con artists, right? Because they don't want you to see their magic tricks. They don't want you to see how they do things. And it's very clear that getting into these positions and manipulating the system and intimidating and manipulating who is in the jury box, and um, how to convict, and there's just so many. The gag order, right? The gag order. And we know with Yvonne Rosales, see, it's the same tricks every time. They did it with Yvonne Rosales. They were after her, retaliating against her about this gag order. But yet Justin Underwood, who was an ad litem to the Walmart case, was running his mouth and nothing was done. Nothing was done. And, so here they weaponize the criminal justice system. They weaponize the media, in Yvonne Rosales' case to, media directed politics, right? You have to uh, take those words and memorize them. Media directed politics. This is a huge weaponization. And when they use the criminal justice system, when they use the media directed politics of Bob Moore, of El Paso Matters, of UTEP, KTEP, KTSM, you have this collaboration of up to no good. And, it is the weaponization, not a law of peace, not a criminal justice system of peace, right? Peace officers, right? That's what we called our law enforcement, peace officers, and the criminal justice system being a system of peace, because it would bring justice, and you could trust in it, and it would bring peace to chaos, right? Peace to a criminal case, peace to a neighborhood that was in chaos because of crime or because of certain situations that were unlawful. It would bring peace, right? And, now it's been weaponized to bring chaos, to bring crime. And so today's convictions, it's just a weaponization. It's bullets. It's violence done to Trump today. Violence done to New York today. Violence done to our country today. It did not bring peace. It brought violence because it brought a distrust. And that's, I think, where those witches and warlocks that are up to no good, that have infiltrated inside the system and everything, where their spell has gone wrong. I don't think that they've got their chemistry right. The outcome is not going to come out as expected, because they've just showed us their magic trick. That's what they did. And I think, COVID showed the levels that they would go to against us. And now with this terrible weaponization of the criminal justice system in New York, well, it was not just in New York, right? It was also in El Paso. It was against Veronica Escobar, and it was also against Richard. And this is why we keep going, because we understand that the criminal justice system, is broken in El Paso. And in order to get accountability in the murder of our son's case, we need to rectify the broken system. We need to repair it. And Trump's situation today gives us credibility in what we're doing. Um, the investigations that are ongoing of Bill Hicks and as a usurper of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. These investigations, as they come forward, are amicus curiae. We really put our money where our mouth is, or whatever. We not only said, hey, he's a usurper of the 34th Judicial District, we also submitted the amicus brief to one of the largest cases in the United States right now, which is the SB4 federal case. And then Joanne Bernal, what did she do? Resign. She resigned. And we not only submitted it, we asked for leave. I mean, we've had to learn this system that we did not know. And it was submitted and it is being reviewed, and we um, supplemented it with all of the evidence. And then we didn't stop there. We sent that to every dean of every law school that we could find an email for. We sent that out, and to many, many more people, to a lot of media, right? So, I think we can't get down when we see, or mad when we see things, what happened to Trump. We have to move forward and look at that situation and say, okay, this is empowering and giving credibility to all of the Americans out there, all of the people that live in this country that want justice, that say that there's a problem with the system, that say that there's a weaponization going on right now, that says that there are these witches and warlocks that are manipulating our system right now, abusing our system right now. It gives you credibility to move forward, to make your own reports of what you see, right? No one's going to doubt you again. This is the problem when in 2020, when Richard went missing, and we knew it stunk. We knew it stunk to high heaven, and we were surrounded by people that were trying to control the narrative on Richard's story and trying to even smear Richard, right? In their little manipulative ways, by directing the narrative, it was a smear of Richard. And so, and we were like, okay, what can we do about this? And they wanted to put Richard in cold case. And we're like, no, this is not a cold case. We have like breaking news every day. And then, of course, we learned about Leilani Hart and her son, Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader, and the CID agent, that was having sexual favors with Leilani Hart, because she wanted something in return. She wanted, the access, unauthorized access, unlawful access to files, right? So that she could tamper with Richard's file, right? So she could, do her dirty deeds and, whatever with the videotapes, whatever, because, we hear all kinds of stories. And now we're hearing that she's trying to drag other people into this case. Other people that were trying to help us, but were retaliated against, right? We're going to reach out to, and even saying that they're doing unlawful activities. So Leilani Hart is still up to no good, y'all. And she's a prime suspect in the murder of our son, right? So all of this manipulation that you have watched around Trump this really, it's called a false witness, right? It's um, really trying to direct the direction of any kind of conversation in order to uh, pull strings on your emotions and make you think a certain way, right? Um, she's still doing that in this case now, trying to direct people in it by putting out some narratives. But you have to remember, she is a confirmed, convicted criminal that confessed that her family was into child pornography, that confessed that her family was into incest, that confessed with a notary that her family was into purchasing weapons unlawfully, that, she was under threat all the time, that it was a violent family, and that her family in her master bedroom, uh, a 7-year-old was raped, and it was her friend's child, an active duty soldier's child. That's what she's notarizing and was accepted by the FBI. And, you know, people are saying, oh, there's no truth to this. But wait a minute, why isn't she arrested? She's never been arrested, right? Um, Let me tell you, lying to law enforcement agents like the FBI is a crime. She would have to be arrested, but she hasn't been arrested. And, uh, she has a way of telling us the story. And now we're getting, intelligence that she's telling another story. She's telling another story by wanting to drag a person into this. Um, Not just one person, a few people into this case by lodging allegations at them, criminal allegations at them. And so we'll be making a report about that. So I just want everyone to heads up that this is going on, that there is some, because of the investigations going on in Richard's case, federal and state investigations, that sometimes people get nervous. Maybe this is what is happening to Leilani Hart, and she wants to redirect the investigation off of her onto other people. And so she's, and the reason why we're taking this so seriously is because we have spoke with her victims, and they have said, that she would make false allegations against them and people around them. She would make up these allegations to get them in trouble, right? So she has this history of lying to law enforcement. She's a convicted criminal for lying to law enforcement authorities. And of course she has there's violence there. There is violence. She has a long criminal history record. And it is really important that you don't want to be trumped, right? You don't want to be caught in her web and be trumped, right? Because, it's these false allegations in a system where Bill Hicks is the DA, and he is colluding with the likes of Leilani Hart, with the likes of Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, with the likes of Bob Moore, with the likes of Justin Underwood. It seems like it. Seems like it. So, and then with FitFam, the real FitFam El Paso, The Real Fit Fam El Paso is such an important aspect of this case right now. I can't even stress it enough because the people behind the Real Fit Fam El Paso, and it is absolutely with connected to the Walmart case. It's absolutely connected to Richard's case. And, with Joe Spencer, there's so many aspects going on here because there's so many little cases that are going on at the same time. And you see this campaign for the district attorney's office. You have James Montoya winning that the runoff, and now he's going to go up against Bill Hicks, who's a usurper, and he knows he's a usurper because we wrote James Montoya to let him know what was going on. And our stance is, where is Yvonne Rosales? Because legally, not trying to do any witchery, right? I'm not trying to get my candidate in there by some kind of media directed politics. I'm not trying to cast any spells. I'm just saying by the election that got her in, the votes that got her in, she is, and because Bill Hicks is a trespasser and a usurper and is not installed as a district attorney. He's never been installed as a district attorney because he fudged it all up. He messed it all up. So he is not the 34th Judicial District Attorney. He is a fake in there right now. He's a usurper. He's a trespasser. And until then, the law reverts back to the district attorney that was rightfully elected and installed before him, and that is Yvonne Rosales. She is the rightful district attorney right now. And any cases that Bill Hicks touches is a botched case. And so it really is important for El Paso to know that they have the potential of every case being botched that Bill Hicks touches. And, I don't know how Montoya is going to handle this situation because, the people that are reaching out to him are Bob Moore. Let me interview you. It seems like El Paso Matters is trying to pour a little sugar over James Montoya, or become his friend or something like this, right? And so that would worry me. That would be like asking Major General Eisenhower to be my friend, or to ask Tavita Newstead to be my friend, or Leilani Hart to be my friend, or others. Why would I want them as my friends? If they're my friends, who needs enemies? Right? If you have Bob Moore as your friend, who would need an enemy? Be careful where you get your news. If you have El Paso Matters covering you, I don't know. If they're your friends, I don't know. It's like, who needs enemies? It's kind of like all these people saying, oh yeah, the Real Fit Fam El Paso, they're up to no good. They've been extorting people. And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize this was such a big deal here. I've been doing this for 4 years, and they ran a smear story about Richard's death. And we asked them to take it down, inquired about it. There was no answer, inquired some more about it. Please just even post our story up then, and was ignored. And, how can they ignore us when this is about a murdered soldier on Fort Bliss and they themselves are military and in the service of uh, security. When they're part of the security community, I mean, and the military community, the military security community, and first response. And, for it just shows you this, that what happened to Trump has now started a new chapter, and that we have credibility now. All of us that have been disenfranchised and, uh, have been calling out, pleading for help for so many years, we now have weight behind us. We have something to point to and say, see, this, I'm not making this up. This is really happening. This weaponization of the criminal justice system is really happening. This media being used as for directing politics is really happening. And that even Bill Hicks playing politics. You see what happened to Trump now gives weight to Loretta Lynn Hewitt, who was a lawyer hired to prosecute the Walmart mass shooting. And she left in disgust and said, Bill Hicks is playing politics with this whole office, right? She left in disgust. And now she has credibility because of a very clear and very well publicized example of how our criminal justice system is no longer for peace, but for chaos and for violence and for injustice, weaponized against the very people that they were supposed to serve, that they're supposed to serve. And so she's got some credibility, and it gives us credibility. And moving forward to our lawsuits, it will give us credibility to show, how this is not fair, that this is a weaponization. And then it also gives what happened to Richard credibility, because the retaliation that it was against him with the and we talked about this today. I didn't, but Rob did. Rob met with our casualty assistance officer today and talked to him about the weaponization of the system against Richard, just to a small degree, because really it's about his rank, making sure that he's at the proper rank for uh, for all the paperwork for his memorial. We want his memorial, and we want his memorial on Fort Bliss. We want to be able to go to Fort Bliss and, invite all the people there that have our team find Richard Halliday to remember Richard, and this very, very great, amazing feat that we have accomplished by getting the United States government to admit that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss in July of 2020. That is so huge. And because we accomplished that, and it's devastating, it's not like something you are happy about. It's, your heart just breaks and your heart hurts. And so today when Rob came home, he handed me the gold star lapel pin that we got today from the CAO. And, it's just heartbreaking. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of the prayers and the kind words, the outreach of support about that situation, because it really means a lot to us. And reading through them, it just, one right after the other, it's like a snowball of strength, right? You're just so weakened and heartbroken um, by the meaning, the symbolism of the gold star um, lapel pin, and then you read all the kind words, all the love, all the prayers, all the thoughts, and one by one, it strengthens you, and what you have to do. You know what you have to do. And in Team Farm Richard Halliday's case, we absolutely know that we have to get accountability. Accountability, and why? Um, we've got to restrain this weaponization of our system that is hurting so many. That uh, even changes, and this is the analogy that I like to use, um, some of our elves into orcs, right? And every time I think of that, I think of like Jay Paulin or whatever, who, I think he went into the military to serve honorably. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but that's what I think. And they got a hold of him, and he became such an orc, didn't he? He just is such an orc. Um, and this is what we have to do is uh, many of us, not just the Trump family and the Trump supporters, not just Team Farm Richard Halliday and the Team Farm Richard Halliday supporters, but it is like the Lavina Johnsons. It's like the Elder Fernandezes. It's like what's going on with Caleb Smither right now. What's going on with so many of the families that we've talked to that are, fighting very hard for justice, for fighting for peace, for our system to bring peace. And it's very important. And, I've had so many naysayers. It's kind of like that story in the Bible with Job, where you have Job's friends, and they mean well or whatever, but they, uh, tell you to, in Job's case, curse God, because you're never going to get anywhere. You're up against the green mean machine. You're up against the system. Yes, they have 6 ways to Sunday to get even with you. All this, you know, of course they have power, and I'm not ignorant that they don't have power. Look at what they're doing to us, right? Of course they have power. Look at what they just did to Trump today. Of course they have power, but they don't have dominion. And dominion is very different from power. And it's kind of like that analogy of Deborah, the song of Deborah, that the stars in their course fought against Sisera. You know, this is really important to understand that they might have power, right? But they don't have dominion. They don't have the last say. They just don't. And, you know, you've got to operate in faith, and and it's risky. Of course, it's risky. We know it's risky because you're up against some evil people, and they don't mean you any good. They mean you chaos and harm, and just want you to give up, and no self-respect. They don't want you to have any self-respect and honor. They don't want you to protect your loved one's namesake, their future, your family's name. They don't want. They don't care about that. They don't care about legacy. They don't care about that. They don't care about um, the memories that your grandchildren are going to have about their uncle, or about your family, or about the, uh, they don't care about justice. They just want to weaponize everything other people have built. They're like little grasshoppers. They come in, they want to munch it, and they want to utilize it, and they want to utilize it by weaponizing it and destroying. And so I think that this is, instead of being sad, today it's a day where we can say, okay, this is where a new chapter starts. We clearly have evidence now that they are weaponizing, that they are up to no good, that our politicians hire, I'm not joking, they hire attack dogs to do their dirty work for them. They absolutely do. And they're just, it is brutal. It is, the politics is brutal. And, that has to stop. That kind of culture, that kind of atmosphere that is ruling our country, which means the land and the people. They're determining what's best for the land and what's best for the people. And they're just so up to no good. How can they determine what's best when they're weaponizing that they can't bring a system of peace to us? Right? They want to utilize it as a weapon and bring us harm. And it's much more dangerous than any kind of M4. The weaponization of the criminal justice system, the weaponization of the politics, the weaponization of the media directed for politics, the weaponization of everything that we've built that's meant for peace, that's meant for progress, and they want to use it for chaos, and they want to use it to hurt people, to be violent. And I hope that makes sense. And thanks be to God. I have this book here. I have this book here, and it has something called in our tradition. It's called, and I didn't mean to do this. It's called the Te Deum Laudamus. It's something that we sing at church, and this is a march. It's we praise thee, O God. We acknowledge thee to be the Lord. That's how it starts. And this, when you read the history of the Te Deum Laudamus, it was like in the worst of times, but it's like the best of times in the worst of times, because this praise to God and the acknowledgement that he is our Lord, that he is the one that has dominion. It's the stars in their chorus that fought against Sisera, that nothing that I can do, nothing that you can do, is going to ultimately decide, right, the accountability. God is in total control of that. But because we're in communion with God and we're in partnership with God, right? We're in the vine, right? That's always the analogy. Jesus says to us to stay in the vine, right? And as oft as you do this, taking communion, taking part of communion, and that is in the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. This is what gives you the power. This is because the realization that his word, which is law word, is so divine and has such dominion that it overcomes the world. So our faith overcomes the world. So just us doing this in faith, sometimes we don't understand it. We don't understand why we get baptized. We don't understand why we take communion all the time. Sometimes we're going through the motions. Sometimes it's very meaningful to us. right? We're just, we see things so clearly that it becomes very clear to us, but sometimes we don't. We don't understand all the implications, but we act in faith, and our faith overcomes. This is what overcomes the weaponization of the criminal justice system, the weaponization, the the media driven politics, right? Um, those that are up to no good, the witchery, the witchcraft, the sorcery, the manipulation of the narratives all the time, um, and the manipulation of our schools and our culture and all of that. And the good news is that these are just a few people. This is just a few. I mean, you think, oh, this is a lot. I don't know. I don't see that. I don't see that. I see a lot of us watching, watching to see what's going on, not knowing how to respond to things that we don't agree with, that are unlawful. That's what I see a lot of. And I hear a lot of cries. Do not, Mrs. Halliday, do not quit, do not quit, do not quit. Please keep going. We need peace, right? They want peace. And so I see a huge amount of people. Look in New Jersey. This is another thing that was so clear that was shown to us, that even in the Bronx and in New Jersey, people are just saying, "Look, we've had it with this manipulation and the weaponization of our system. We are 100% for America, 100%." And so that, brings um, a lot. It puts a skip in your walk, because you know that it gives credibility to Richard's whistleblowing. It gives credibility to what we're trying to expose and to restrain and get accountability for. It puts a credibility into Yvonne Rosales. Yvonne Rosales has so much more credibility today than she did in 2022, when they were lodging all these, "Oh, you're not moving the case forward." And now it's like, okay, what do you got now? Because she's got so much more dirt on them than they ever had on her. And, so she has credibility now to come back to her office with her head held high. And of course, President Trump has credibility now, more than ever before, with all that Russiagate stuff, which we knew was a bunch of baloney. At least we did. I don't know, some people bought it, but we did, because, my parents worked at the embassy there in Russia. And, anyway, that's a long story. But, all that has been disproven now. So he has credibility, and that's why his numbers are going up, because the credibility for our side is so high. I think we're reaching all-time highs. And do you know what this means for getting accountability for who murdered Richard? And that's why I think Leilani Hart is panicking and trying to blame other people now, right? Put some blame on other people. And, watch out, Dallas Hart. Watch out, because I know that you and your mother don't have kind words for each other, right? Because I talked to Dallas Hart. He didn't have any kind words for her. The whole narrative um, with her family is that she's crazy. She's just so crazy. And even the victims that we talk to. She's so crazy. I mean, beyond, and other people that we have talked to, um, just, you know, don't have any kind words. So, um, yeah, I think she knows that, um, there are witnesses that saw things, saw planning, um, saw her with Tavita Nusa, uh, knows that there are inconsistencies between James Courtney Hart, Leilani Hart, and Dallas Hart in their statements, because they'll say, "Oh yeah, that's the cousin," and then the mother, Leilani, will say, "Oh, that's the nephew," and then Dallas is like, "Oh, I don't even know that Travis dude. I don't know him. What's his name?" So there's a, clearly, obviously, an attempt to cover up and manipulate. And because I'm saying that, and you just watched what happened to Trump, it has given us credibility. And this is so important because they worked so hard to destroy Richard's credibility. And they've worked hard to make us go away and to try to destroy our credibility, right? And now, today, we have a new chapter. And I think I think Trump will be able to fight through this. I'm going to have a lot of faith, and I don't know how. I don't know how God's going to do all this, but uh, the what I take from it is a positive. Wow, we have a new chapter, and that new chapter is going to help us win. It is the road to victory. It really is a road to victory. So, no matter how much those other people, the witches and warlocks or whatever, are celebrating today, um, I I don't think they should celebrate so quickly. I think they need to be pretty careful because they might have some power, but they don't have dominion, and they just lost all credibility. They just lost credibility totally. So, let me read through this. Okay, and you know what that does? Some, Team Five Richard Halliday, they were telling me this unites us. This is uniting the people that want peace, the people that want an actual criminal justice system that works. Um, a military that is working and functioning, following their SOPs, and having proper oversight of our soldiers. Think about Caleb Smither, fifth stage of decomposition. They found him in the barracks. That's negligence. I don't care how you wrap that up. That is negligence. And yeah, so okay, let me read through this. Anicia, thank you so much for your prayers and your love. Always appreciated, and we love you so much. Danielle, thank you so much for um, your prayers, the stars and their courses, the angels, the full armor of God. I got it. I got it. Thank you so much. And I needed that today with that little golden star, boy. Talk about emotions. Woo. I didn't know it would hit me like this. Then they know where the body is. Oh, absolutely. They know where the body is. Um, yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Um, yeah. And yeah, we can go ask Dallas. Hey, Dallas, and Lonnie and Tavita, right? We can ask them. So Richard's story sounds very odd because of all the injustice, but you have been fighting every day and every night for them to be held accountable. You have factual evidence. Yes, we do. Absolutely hard facts. Richard needs to have a service in his honor. Thank you so much. And we need to have that memorial. But we have a problem. We have a Major General Eisenhower. Do you know that since we have received the notice of death, he has not even contacted us? That the commanding general, the commanding officer of Fort Bliss has not contacted us. When we sent the notice to him that we received the notice, he has not contacted us. And there are security breaches there. And we want to have this memorial. But there's some problems. One of our whistleblowers in this case, they are retaliating against our whistleblower. Major General Eisenhower is retaliating against our whistleblower, who happens to be an officer of the court, who happens to have been teaching at Park University, who was in connection with Tavita Nusa and connection with Leilani Hart, and he reported it. He reported it in his official office, the things that they revealed, the things that they did, and he saw, and he reported it to FBI Ray. He reported it to Merrick Garland. He reported it to several other agencies to cover himself. He knew that this was something that needed to be looked into, that Richard had been murdered. And what happens? A retaliation against Richard. Why? Because of those behind the Real Fit Fam El Paso, I believe, this military secret operation, right? The secret operations that are going on behind this Real Fit Fam El Paso, and that is in connection with those that are up to no good, like Danae Katzen, like Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, like Leilani Hart, like Dallas Hart, like those that participated with the Walmart mass shooting, right? Um, you know, there's no other explanation. You have hard facts. The hard facts are those that are working behind in secret. We want to be a secret. We want to be a secret. Shh, shh. Why is it a secret? Who's behind the Real Fit Fam El Paso? Why is that a secret? Okay, unless they're hiding things. And are they hiding things? Yes, they didn't do it too well because we got it. But they went and they deleted their LinkedIn's right away. Why? Why would you have to do that? Right? And why would you have to retaliate against a whistleblower that points the finger at Leilani Hart, who's the mother of Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart, and who was giving sexual favors to a married CID Fort Bliss agent that was then in turn for the sexual favors or whatever, maybe, they're just whatever. Oh, we're just related. But, so that gives me the right to give unauthorized access to files so that files can be tampered with. No. That's why he lost his badge. That's why he was separated from the military. But why is it that his family has connections to mortuary affairs? Right? Why is it that Leilani Hart has connections to those in mortuary affairs? Why is it that Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia shares a residence with Danae Katzen? Why is it that family is in connection with the medical examiners? Right? With the medical examiner. Why is it that the medical examiner is illegally in this country? That clearly he broke his visa. He was here, he broke his visa, and he's making $438,000 a year, and he's illegal. And he's not even legally, he's unqualified to even be in that position because he's not an American citizen. And to be a chief medical examiner, any medical examiner, because a medical examiner is like a judge. And even Joanne Bernal, who ran for the hills, right? She ran for the hills. She resigned. She's resigned. And she is the one that brought the SB4 case to the federal judiciary. Right? And then she just resigns. I mean, these are hard facts. Hard facts. And then there's irregularities. And then there are circumstantial evidence. And why would anybody have to hire people to be attack dogs, to be vile and vulgar, right? Vile and vulgar, to, to attack, harass, threaten the family, a Gold Star family, a Gold Star family. And they knew that we were a Gold Star family because they knew that Richard had been murdered. And yet, we have been, the messages, whenever the book comes out, whenever the story comes out, and Richard's story is going to come out, and you read the messages, you're going to be like, what? What in the world? We have been through hell, y'all. Hell. And the only by the grace of God did we get that notice of death. Hard work. Hard work, yes. To work is to pray is to work, and God gave us that notice of death. And, so now we can get more and more information. We're not required to have the, what do you call that? The power of attorney. We are next of kin now. We're not third parties. They kept calling us third parties. So things have changed. It's a new chapter. And what just happened to Trump is another new chapter. You'd make lemonade out of lemons. Is it a good thing that happened? No way. No way is that a good thing. But you make lemonade out of it and you go, okay, now people will see that what we're saying, that we have hard facts, that we have irregularities, that we have circumstantial evidence, that we have credibility, and also what we have reported. And what Richard was reporting just got a huge dose of credibility. And, so that's very important in getting accountability. And I think in the long run, that will help President Trump too. Whether you like him or not, what happened to him is absolutely the weaponization, the misuse of our system. Absolutely. There's not a doubt in anyone's mind on that one. Okay. Majority. Then they, thank you so much. Definitely accountability is a must to save our soldiers. Absolutely. They have been committing suicide. They've been getting raped. They've been getting mistreated. They've been using the leadership and the culture has been using the Article 15s, weaponizing them against our soldiers. The Gomars weaponizing them against our soldiers. No way. No way. Yeah. So we absolutely need to um, fight for peace again. A system that follows it. We can't have Caleb Smither situations, y'all. We can't have Austin Hawks situations, Lavina Johnson situations, Elder Fernandez's situation, Richard Halliday's situation, Enrique Roman Martinez. They cut off his head and then they put him in cold case. Vanessa Guillen's situation. We can't have these situations. This is not war zone situations. This is a failure of leadership. The failure of leadership to follow standard operating procedures, to follow regulations. This is, and also then the weaponization of the tools that we have entrusted to them. That's what this is. Yes. 85,000 immigrant children unaccounted for from the same base. Yes, and please note this, that the registered agent and manager for the Real Fit Fam El Paso was a huge player in the management of the emergency intake center. It's on his LinkedIn. And he worked, this is not my words, he worked the Walmart case firsthand, quote unquote. He worked the Walmart case firsthand. That means he absolutely knew Ernest Christopher Grant. Absolutely. He was the response, he's security, he has secret clearance, and he is behind the real, find Richard Halliday, the Real Fit Fam El Paso, and he said, shh, you can't know who I am. But he has access to information, access to huge information, and he's running a for-profit social media site with others, connected with others. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. And that's why I keep that name up for my live streams right now. It's so big because it's so big we haven't totally wrapped our head around the implications of that yet. And still verifying all the different people and their connections. It's not that big of a group, but all the different connections. Yeah, it's wow. Pray for justice and accountability. Yes. And what that does is it links the military, those in the military, to the Walmart case, right? To the Walmart case, to the emergency intake. Of course, the military ran that. And they did a horrendous job. 85,000 missing children, and no one's supposed to care. No one's supposed to care. Where are they? Where are they? I care. I think Team Farm Richard Halliday cares. I think people that tune into this for news, for breaking news, care. And the breaking news today is that we're in a new chapter. We're in a new chapter of credibility here. Our credibility just skyrocketed. And I think thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. And we're going to make lemonade out of this. Lemon. And turn things around and get accountability. That's our position here. And I just want to thank everybody so much for your prayers. and for your support and moving forward. So please comment, please share, please share, please share. I can't tell you that enough. This is a not for profit. There's no ads or anything like that. There's no monetization on this at all. This is purely a cause for our military, a cause for our justice system, and absolutely a cause for our son to get accountability. And I just want to say thank you so much. God bless you. Please share, comment, and like. And I'll be back tomorrow, God willing.